here I am for another knitting podcast, and it's going to be a little bit rushed probably because I'm trying to make this last minute before going to our other property, so I don't have to carry all these knits with me. But I have been knitting like mad the last several months, and I have really been wanting to show you what I made. So hopefully this works well. I'm going to show you these kind of briefly here, as well as a sewing project, and then show more at the property, make some more videos there. So it'll be a little bit of a mix. It's kind of hard when moving to do these videos, especially since I've been knitting a lot at both places. So hopefully I didn't forget anything because this is a very last minute decision. Let's just get right into it. So my most exciting knit, my first thing for myself, maybe ever. I don't know. I know it's my first sweater. That is for sure. That's my first garment. Yeah, it's definitely the first thing for myself that I've knit. I've crocheted things for myself, but not knit, and never made myself a knit or crocheted sweater. So here it is. That's gorgeous. It's so soft and cozy. This is the Favo sweater by Fiber Tales, and this one was so fun. It took, I know I said I wasn't going to buy any yarn. I forgot. I haven't even told you about the yarn for this because I have not been doing these videos. Last minute, I decided to buy the yarn for this sweater because I have wanted to knit this sweater ever since it was released, and I wasn't even a knitter then. And that's partly what got me decided to teach myself how to knit. So I used Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted weight yarn in the color Oyster Heather, and I used their Blush lace weight Aloft mohair. I always want to say merino. So this is like 28% silk and the rest mohair. It's super soft. The only complaint about this that I have is it's kind of inconsistent. There were some parts of the yarn where it was almost like knitting with thread, and others where it was super fuzzy. So, and it was a little bit expensive, so I wish that it was, I know mohair is expensive, but I was hoping it'd be a little bit more consistent, because some areas of this sweater are super fuzzy and soft, and others are not so much. And I could have held it double, but that would have just upped the price of the whole sweater, and I wasn't wanting to do that. I figured out the price. I can't remember the exact price for this sweater. I ended up buying like $136 with the yarn because I didn't know which sweater size to do, so I bought enough yarn for the largest size. Obviously I had a lot extra, so I figured out the cost for the yarn I actually used. It's about $92 I think for this, which for a homemade sweater I don't feel like that's too bad because it's all natural fibers and stuff, and I'm really excited. But the cost is what kept me from doing it for so long. But it has this really cool reverse stockinette back panel, and I've never done reverse stockinette, so that was really fun. Honeycomb brioche, new for me too. The braid, new. Most of the techniques on this were new for me. I've done cables, but not this kind before. I did this really cool twisted stitch, bobbles. I've never knit bobbles before this, just crochet. This cool zigzag stitch was really neat. And then stockinette, and that is the front piece. I did make some changes to the pattern. I will leave my Ravelry project page below for this. Sorry if I'm talking too fast. I'm just trying to get this done because I really want to share with you all the cool things I'm making. So the only changes I made to the pattern is I went down a needle size for the body, down 2 sizes from the original for the sleeve and neck ribbing, because I like my sleeves to fit a little bit, my cuffs to fit a little bit tighter. And I also used that same needle size for the collar and picked up an extra 8 stitches for a total of 80 stitches instead of 72. I just wanted to make sure it was wide enough, but I didn't want to use the larger needle for the neck. So that worked out pretty well. And I used the 3 needle bind off for the sleeves, for the shoulders, which meant there are 2 garter stripes running along here, but because of how thick and cushy the brioche is, you don't really see it. The sleeves, I made this, I got it all put together, sewn together. I was so excited, and I tried it on, and the sleeves were way too long, which I was not expecting because I sized down and only gave myself 3 inches of positive ease for the body because I didn't want it to be really large. And I was a little bit worried that would be too small. I ripped out the back panel of this 11 times, and every time it was at least like 2 inches long, and 3 times it was 8 to 12 inches long. And that was before I decided to go with the smaller size. So this took a lot of work. And honestly though, the only problem was figuring out the brioche. Everything else was so easy. I didn't really have any trouble learning any of the stitch patterns except for the brioche. Turns out the one mistake I was making, and I will link the tutorial to help me figure this out, because this is like my 6th tutorial, and it was my last try before just letting the brioche turn out how it was wanting to turn out. Because I couldn't tell, and the reason why I kept doing it and ripping it out was because I was like, am I doing this wrong, or will it look nice when it's blocked? I couldn't decide, but it was all leaning one way. And I watched this lady's video, and she said when you're knitting it flat, you knit the 2 together through the back loop. I did that, and it fixed all of it, which is amazing, but at that point I was almost done with the back already again, so I had to rip out the entire thing all over, and it was discouraging. But something that I've learned is it's only painful once when ripping things out, because honestly, even though I'm remembering how many times I took this out, I don't, like, the pain of it isn't there. Like, I'm just like, I've got a nice sweater, and it's like, I know I was really frustrated with it, but I don't feel that anymore, so go ahead and rip it out. Anyway, I had gotten it all done, realized the sleeves were way too long. I couldn't leave it. It was way too long for it to be even okay. So I ripped it out, ripped back the honeycomb brioche, like 2 inches. I had accidentally knit too long and made them 18 inches long, which I thought would be okay because the pattern says 17 and a half for the size. So I did 18, and I'm like, that's a half an inch bigger. It's okay because I'm making the body smaller, which makes it less drop shoulder. It'll be okay. No, it wasn't. They were monstrously long. I ripped out like 2 inches, so these were 16-inch long sleeves at that point, and I was going to rip out another half inch, but I was afraid of making them too short. So I did that, and I knit it, and the sleeves are still too long. But I'm going to leave it because the sleeve kind of comes over the cuffs and covers them, which is kind of sad because I wanted to be able to see the cuffs. But then it's just fine. So I'm going to leave it. It'll just be an extra bulky, oversized sweater. But when I make another one, because I do want to make another one, I will definitely make the sleeves shorter. I want to make another one in like a dark green color like Yarn Flakes made. And I think that'd be really, really pretty. So I saw hers and I loved it, and I almost made it not this neutral color. I want it to be just faintly pink, so that with pink outfits it looks pink, and other outfits it just looks like a neutral color. And I'm really happy with this decision. Whenever I saw this, I was like, whoa, that is like bubblegum pink, which now I've gotten so used to it doesn't feel like bubblegum pink. But when I opened it, I'm like, that is so pink. And I was really nervous, but I am a frugal person. I wasn't going to rebuy it, so I just did it anyway, and it worked out. So that was really nice, because this is my only option. They didn't have any pink worsted weight at Knit Picks. I could have got it from another company, but I didn't. Also, if you skipped into mohair, this would only be like a $45 sweater, or less than a $45 sweater. But I like the softness in the mohair, so I don't regret that. Anyway, I feel like I'm talking a lot. I'm just so excited and happy. I love this sweater. I made it according to measurements. I thought I'd make the body longer because a lot of people I was seeing said that it was too cropped. But the thing about making clothes for yourself is you realize certain things. Like, I didn't know I had a large head until I started making patterns and realized, like, hats and stuff, and I was like, oh, a lot of those don't fit. And I started shopping for vintage hats, and I was like, oh, those don't fit. I didn't realize I had such a short torso until I started making and buying my own clothes, or like measuring for clothes. And I was like, oh, apparently I have a shorter torso than a lot of people. Because I thought since I had a larger bust size, I would have to make a longer sweater. That's what a lot of people were saying. And even people with smaller bust size than me were saying that they needed to make it larger. So I went with the original measurements, and it is definitely long enough. The sides are a little bit too cropped. That's what most people were saying. But that's only if I put my arms, like both of my arms up, and then it kind of comes to like here, which I don't really mind because it's just when you put your arms up, and I'm not walking around with my arms up all the time. See, I really like it. It goes, I decided long ago that my favorite waistline placement, whatever, is at my natural waist. So I just automatically make everything go to my natural waist, and so this works perfectly with like all my dresses. I've tried it on with several dresses and with the skirt I'm wearing right now, and I love it. It's so nice. And now I just can't wait for fall to be here so I can wear it a lot. Well, let's move on to the next one because I've been talking a lot about that one. So for whips, I have this it's a petite knit pattern that I have loved for years and years and years, again, before I was even a knitter. And it is the Sunday suit. I am using worsted weight yarn, which the pattern did not call for. I started this a long time ago, and I cannot remember what size I was doing. I think I did newborn size. And you can see I was having problems with my gauge a little bit. This is when I really realized that I knit in the round much at a tighter gauge, so it's quite noticeable. So since then, to conquer that, I have gone up a needle size for all knitting in the round, like I did with the Favo sweater. I went up like a half size or something. And I found that really just fixed my problems. Some people are like, oh, then you just need to learn how to change your gauge. I'd rather just go up a needle size, and because I did try to do that, and then it's just inconsistent. So for me, that's what I do. This is worsted weight yarn. Instead of the fingering or DK that she recommends, no, it's DK weight yarn instead of the fingering or light fingering, I think, that she recommends. So you can see the increases a bit more. She said if you do them right, there are no holes, but I could see in her test knit that there were holes there. They're just not as noticeable, and in everyone else's in the pattern, they had them too. So the reason why this is still a whip, long after I started it, is because I did the full leg here. So this was going to be the twister bonnet. I forgot to mention that. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. This is going to be the twister bonnet. I kept trying to figure it out. I was frustrated it wasn't turning out. Then I went and looked at the project photos, which I had not done before, which you should do. And I was like, you know what? This isn't actually the kind of pattern I want in my Hope Chest baby wardrobe. So I took it out. And I had 3 skeins. And I'm like, surely 3 skeins of this yarn. Let me see. It's 70% merino, 30% silk. This is the gloss line that I really like. So that was 369 yards. Like, surely that's enough. But it is a larger gauge than, a larger yarn than the pattern recommends. So it used up a lot more yarn. And I had a little bit left after doing the one leg. But I didn't want to start another leg and forget where I was at, which is a good thing because I didn't know I would not have any idea where I was at right now. So this is on hold until I make a yarn purchase, which will probably be a while, and then I will probably order like 2, maybe 3 more to be on the safe side, skeins of this yarn so I can make the sleeves and the other leg, because I know I used like an entire skein almost for the leg. So I'll do that. That is a whip. And another whip is another cardigan for me, and because of how I am, I was a little bit discouraged because this was technically cast on and well on its way before the Favo was ever started. And I was like, really? Because I couldn't finish this. I'll tell you why in a minute. And I was like, but this was going to be my first ever sweater, cardigan, whatever, and then I realized doesn't matter because this is my first sweater and this is my first cardigan. So even though I cast it on first, it still has its first place and I don't have to worry about which one's first. Just something that I do. Anyway, this is the Felix cardigan, another one I have wanted to make for a while, and this is made with homespun from a neighbor of ours, and most of this she spun, but some of it is from friends. I'll have to check with her to see what yarn this is again because she told me, but it's been a few months and I kind of forgot. But when I was making this, I wasn't sure how the different weights of yarn would go, but they seem to go along with each other just fine. This is I like the rusticness of it. This is not normally the color I would go for. I would normally go for like earthy tones. I don't really like wearing red very often, but I do have one red dress I enjoy wearing. But anyway, red is not my first pick. I don't wear it a lot. Neither is orange. Definitely not orange. I really never wear orange. But with the other colors in it, I was like, maybe this would be nice. So I started making the Felix cardigan. I made it in quite a few sizes too large. I honestly can't remember what size I was making though, because the yarn is so inconsistent. I wanted to make sure it would fit me. So I think I maybe did the largest size available. So because of the yarn and how it is, you can't really see the lace detail increases very well. But once it's blocked, I think you'll maybe see them a bit better. But the reason why this is on hold is because I only have a few rolls of this yarn, and it's not enough to finish the collar, the bottom ribbing, and the cuffs. I have to do the cuffs, the neckline, the bottom ribbing, and the front knitting button plackets. So all of the ribbing, anything ribbing, is not done on this. So since the collar does not start with ribbing, I decided to use a different yarn for this. I'm going to use some homespun. I'm going to spin my own because I want it to be homespun yarn. And I want to kind of add my extra touch to this because I kind of like the idea of it being like a multi-person project. So I'm working on spinning some alpaca right now, some brown alpaca. And I will make that for all the cuffs. And I might hold it double with some of these to use them up and to give it a bit more uniform appearance. Because at first I was thinking the dark brown yarn would look really nice, but it's not going to be as dark as I thought it would be. It's spinning out to be much lighter. So I think I might just hold it double with these, and then if I run out, I run out. And it's okay. I don't care if it's through all the ribbing. Because there's those 3 I just showed you, little rolls, and then 2 more. And I'll just do that. I think it'll be nice. So until I can get that yarn spun, which will take a while because I am not very good at spinning, and I haven't been... There's so many of us that like to spin here that I have never been given the chance to actually finish my own spinning project. Because for years we only had 1 spinning wheel, and we only recently got more spinning wheels. And if you left your project, anyone in the house would just come and start spinning on it. And then we would run out of wool pretty quickly. So I haven't really finished my own project yet. So I took the spinning wheel to my room to make sure no one spins on it. And technically there is some of this exact same alpaca that has already been spun, and I did work on it some. I applied it together. Mom did most of the spinning, and then some of the kids did some of it. But I kind of want it to be the yarn that I spun from start to finish myself and then got it all ready. So for this project, that's what I'm going to do. It'll just take a while now. Hopefully it'll be done before fall. And then we'll go on to some more knits. This one is Azariah's orange sweater. Like I said, orange is not a color I really wear, and it's also one I don't choose to work with very often. But he was begging for an orange sweater. He loves seeing all the baby knits and things I make, and he was begging for one of his own. So I told Mom, I said, if you get the yarn, then I'll make him a sweater. So she ordered some yarn, and he was begging for a blue one at first, and then he said orange, and he kept switching from blue to orange. And then the day we were going to order, he was just going on and on about orange. That's all he wanted all day. So Mom said to do orange because that's her favorite color too, and because it's a less common boy color. Most of the time you see a lot of blue, and at the time I'd been working on a lot of blue things, so it would be a nice break. So this is the I cannot remember what this sweater is called, but I will link the pattern and the designer because it was a really easy pattern to do. I feel like with this color though, it's really easy to make a project look cheap, so I had to be very careful, and I think this is the best button option for it. It is superwash. That's the other thing that can make it look a little bit more cheap. We did superwash though, so that it can be thrown in the washer, or if it does get put in the washer, it's not ruined. I did the 3 to 4 year old size. I'm really happy with it. It was my first paneled garment. I made this right before the Favo, and I'm feeling it turned out pretty good. It is superwash, so it's not as dense of a knit as it could be, but this is coming in handy at the new property because it gets quite chilly in the evenings. So this will be really nice. I said it has been quite handy there. No, it hasn't. It's been handy here in the evenings. We haven't taken it to the property yet. But I'm going to bring it this next trip because I know Azariah will love it and wear it a whole lot. He was wearing it a lot, and the only reason why I have it up here is because it needs to be washed. So I hand washed it. I have not put it in the washer yet. I'm going to avoid doing that because it's so easy just to wash it. And I don't want to risk putting it in the washer, even though it is superwash. So I hand washed it once. It turned out really well. yeah, he really loves this one. And it was a very easy to follow pattern. The pattern had so many pictures and things, and sometimes I get a bit overwhelmed and a little bit annoyed with too much information and patterns, but this was right after trying to do the twister bonnet that was so hard to figure out that I was just so glad to have such an easy pattern to follow. Whoa, good job, Haya. Are you ready for your surprise? Yeah. Okay, here. Open it up.
Okay.
What is it? Do you want me to help you?
Yeah.
You want me to help you put it on?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a orange sweater.
Orange sweater!
Who made that, Tom? Joelle. Do you like it?
Here, put your arm right there.
Could you make me one, Joe?
Maybe.
The same color of tires.
Come over here. Can you button it? Is it cozy? Here, let me unfold this part. You like it?
Yeah. What has it got on it, Tom? There's a button on it. Do you like the two buttons? Do that.
Woo, so nice! The next one is one I already showed you in the last video, but it is now officially finished. Look at how cute. It has these little buttons, little heart buttons. I sewed them on recently. I ordered these from a place on Etsy called Banana Rock, and I was a little bit apprehensive because they were shipping from France, and it was really cheap. These buttons were, and I couldn't believe the shipping was cheap and everything. That was partly because it just came in a little tiny envelope, bubble mailer, so that was why the shipping was so cheap, I think. But I just think that he's really completed the sweater, and I'm really excited. I have to figure out what to do for the blue one. I think I'm going to do brass buttons on that one. We will see. This is another one that I showed you last time, but this time it has the buttons on it. I did little brass ones up here because I didn't have any that were small enough. And then I did these little black, kind of floral cutout ones, and I think it turned out really cute. This yarn got so much softer after blocking it. I was a little bit worried it would be too scratchy, but it is so soft now. And then this one, I finished this one as well. Same thing with this yarn, it got so soft. You can now see the leaf design a lot better. The color did not pick up well in the videos I took. The girls wanted me to put it on their doll, so I did. And the button spacing is not very good because I think I lost count a few times. It was so hard to count with this pattern for the buttonholes, and it also has a lot of buttons. So I figured the only kind of button to really put on this was pearl buttons because I didn't want it to look... First of all, I don't have very many buttons that I have this quantity of. I also didn't want it to look ridiculous to have that many buttons, and I didn't want to leave empty buttonholes. Anyway, 2 yarn acquisitions before I move on. This is I've acquired more yarn than this, but I already showed you these, and I don't remember what the other ones were. So this is just the yarn that you've seen me buy a lot of already because I'm kind of having fun trying the different colors, and it works, so why not? But these are for sweaters for my cousins. My uncle asked me to make them some sweaters, so I've got the River Rock color for my, I keep wanting to say nephew. He is not my nephew, but he is 1-year-old, so the blue for him. And then for his sister, I am doing this beautiful color. It is the blackberry color. This is River Rock. You've already seen a sweater out of this. I'm making the Veggie Patch cardigan with River Rock for Samuel. And for his sister, I am making, using River Rock and blackberry striped. So that should be really fun. I think that is all though. And I will add on to this video with other things I've been doing. We've been dyeing a lot of yarn, which I forgot to show you in this video. So I'll probably just show you in the next video. And I'll add those videos to this. It's going to be a little bit of a mix-up because I plan on blocking all of these projects and sewing all the buttons on and doing that as a separate video and then showing the dye stuff in this knitting podcast. But I'm just going to put it all together in one video, give you guys an extra long one. So the last thing that I have to show you is a sewing project. And this is one that has been in the making for like 22 years, somewhere like that, because this is supposed to be my baby blanket. My mom it was made by my grandma, and my mom was going to do the binding on it. And she did some of it, and then it sat in a tote of our sewing stuff for a really long time. And then Mom gave it to me like a year and a half ago, and it said that I could finish the binding on it if I wanted to, and then that way it would be like 3 generations have worked on it, which she knows I like that kind of stuff. So I lost the thread for it, and then never got around to it. And a few weeks ago, I decided, I'm like, I need to finish this so that it can be put away and so that it's finished. So I did some hand sewing and did all of this binding. It's not quite even because I didn't want to trim it any more than it was, just to make sure it's wide enough, and I feel like that kind of adds to the organic look of it. And I did a blind stitch, which is super relaxing to do, which means that you don't see it on the back side or the front, and it was really nice. I did mitered corners just to finish this all up. A little bit wobbly, but I think it's really cute, and it will be a great kind of like heirloom blanket. It'll be really fun. This is the back. I've got to show you that because I love this fabric. Anyway, that is all, and I hope that you enjoyed it. What have you been knitting or making? And yeah, that's it. I will see you in the next video. Bye. So in my knitting breaks, I am working on this quilt that my grandma started making for me when I was a baby, or before I was born actually, and then my mom was given it to finish the binding on it and some of this stitching here. Well, she didn't quite finish it. She left the binding not done, and so she offered it to me to do, which I like that idea because that means all 3 generations have worked on it. And I'm doing that now, sewing the binding on. And I did not have, they sell like these little sewing clips that you can clip on the edges of your fabric to keep the hem folded, and I did not have any of those. I didn't want to find them, so I found a bobby pin, or a couple bobby pins. Works really well. I'm really liking that we can roll it and take breaks from stitching it. So I decided I'd share that. If you don't have those clips, or if you don't want to find the clips and you have them already, then you can just use bobby pins. Very brave, because as you can see, I have knit all of this, and I figured out why. It's not really showing up as well on camera, but you see how these lines are going that way. And this isn't making lines, but it's because after about 5 YouTube tutorials, multiple Pinterest and Google and YouTube searches, I finally figured out why my honeycomb brioche wasn't turning out. You can see there's quite a stark line. It shows up even more in person. So, I'm going to rip out to the ribbing. It only hurts once, right? In the last few months, I've accumulated quite the stack of nearly finished objects. The knitting part is done, but some of these pieces still need the ends to be woven in, and all of them need to be blocked and buttons sewn on them, except for the bonnets. So I've kind of been building them up so I could do them all together, and also because I just wanted to knit, not finish them off. So I'm going to try to get through as many of these as possible tonight, hopefully all of them, we will see. But first I'm going to go through and make sure that all of the ends are woven in. I was trying to do it as I went, but a few of them I missed. So this one is done. This one I was not supposed to sew this shut until it was blocked, so I'm leaving that one. So I thought I had seen more loose ends, but apparently I did have all of them. So they're already. A few of them I left the stitch markers on or safety pins for buttonholes just because they were knits that it was really hard to find the buttonholes on, and the safety pins are rust free, so I'm just going to leave them for the blocking. And then stitch markers are plastic, so I'm going to leave those so it'll be easier to add the buttons later. I have some tepid water here, and I'm going to start with my lightest garment just in case the dye bleeds on any of the other ones, because I have some dark yarns. So I'm starting with this one. It's a light gray. This is the Pebble Vest. Just going to submerge that. Lightly squeeze it. You don't want your water too hot or it will felt the fibers easier, and then you also want to be very careful. Don't twist it or wring it, and just lightly squeeze to get as much water out as possible. Large bath towel folded in half, and I'm going to just arrange these on the towel. I want them. I'm really happy with how this one softened up a lot. It was a little bit scratchy before. I'm going to lay it out how I want it. This one I'm going to fold in half since it doesn't have that side seam, and just lay it out exactly how I want the finished garment to be. Just gently stretch it and lay it how you want it to lay, because this helps to kind of set the memory of the yarn. This helps set the memory of the yarn to lay properly every time you wash it after this. So you can be extra finicky about this first time, and then after that it'll be easier every time after. Then take the bottom of your towel, fold it up, and start gently but tightly rolling the towel up, keeping everything nice and flat. Don't twist it, but squeeze it to get as much water out of it as possible. You can also step all along the roll to get out some more water. Smooth out any wrinkles that may have happened, and then we are going to roll it from the other direction. You can see just how wet this towel got from just 2 items, even though I squeezed it out well. And this is why you want to double it up, so it will soak up all that water. Next, you're going to unroll this and lay out your projects neatly to dry the rest of the way. But I can't leave them outside because it's going to be raining soon, so I am going to leave it rolled up just to carry it easier. So this is where I'm putting the twister bonnet once more. As you can see, it's making these little bars in between. I can see it's actually starting to twist this time, which it didn't last time. But these little bars in between are not supposed to be there, the little bars of stockinette. And I decided that since I have 3 skeins of this yarn, instead of making a bonnet and having a lot left over for a random project, I'm going to use all 3 of those skeins and make another maple baby overalls, I think they're called, in the newborn size, because I really wanted to do that anyway. And this way I won't have to make all 3 skeins into bonnets or keep it for another project and hope it works, that I have enough.
It's opening.
It's so cool.
Such a bright color.
Oh,
Ooh, it's gonna
smells good too.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Wouldn't it be cool?
So is that bottom one another flower it's setting in? Is that
There should be, I think, 3 flowers.
Yeah, no, there should be 3 pink flowers. There's white flowers.
That's amazing.
is that a tea?
Yeah, that's they're tea leaves.
Yeah, and
I
it's
think
got
it's
a
a
little
green tea.
string down there
That's
that
cool.
ties them.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Oh,
neat.
that's cool.
Cool.
Oh, if you look underwater, if you get down
The only
lower,
other time we've done these was with friends, and they were pretty old ones that they had, so they didn't really open up very well.
these ones are pretty decently old. You can put some more water in, maybe. You're only supposed to see it until it's completely opened. That's cool.
Crazy how much it grows.
Should we pour some more water?
It's like those little, what are they? The little sponges that.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's pretty.
That's
Push
really
down more.
pretty, except they should have something that will hold it on the bottom. A little weight.
Well, you fill it up and then it just sits in the water like that.
Oh.
They say you're only supposed to steep it whenever the flour.
So I was thinking if we do go and have a tea party, like a picnic party, you know? When we go to do it like in October or something. Or November.
Look at the color.
Ready, action, go. It's lumpy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I guess you could dunk that down in there and swish water around.
Yeah, I could. Oh, look at that. That's so cool, the little clouds of color. I think I'll just add water to this and then dump it in so that it's not getting on the side. It's weird.
Did I go too fast?
It looks cool. No, it's alright.
Here, I can pour it in.
The light's reflecting, so it's harder to see the,
That looks so cool. I like that color. Is that gonna be the pink?
yeah.
Look at that, it's turning pink.
Pink?
That is so cool.
No, this is supposed to be purple.
Should get like a
What?
purpley color.
Oh, there, it's kind of changing.
It is turning
Oh,
purple.
guys,
It's
look
getting
at
a lot
this.
darker.
Oh, we're
Oh, it is a little bit purple. Joe, look at this. Like, come here, Joe. So when you do this, you can see it looks like it would be like a pinky purple, but
okay.
that
Okay,
is
but
so
watch
pretty.
when I stick it in. Does that look
See,
pink?
it looks really pink. It's pink purple.
I didn't think it would come out like
That is
that color.
beautiful.
Mine in.
It's technically not ready. We're Still just light, and testing it it, smells but like propane over here.
Okay,
Whoa.
Has like a.
you want me to dunk it in now?
Okay, wait.
Yeah,
Here,
just
now dunk it in.
I've got to use this.
You want to? Here, you
It's
want
not.
use
It's
your
kind of
spoon?
sitting on top.
Here's your spoon. Because I'll keep this guy with the lozenge.
Okay, scoop it up.
Yeah, where is it?
It's over here. It's over here. Now you lost it.
See it.
You're gonna dip it and look at it.
real quick.
Whoa! I'm so excited. Look at that, girls. I'm just gonna play it.
Now
Graham, look at that color.
Mine's gonna
Whoa. Yeah. Every time you dip it, you can see how it's darker.
You just dip it, you don't put it in it?
No, you can put it in it. I'm just playing with it. Look at that variation
Should I put
though.
my things in it now?
It's so beautiful.
I love this.
That's pretty cool.
See what I want to dye on.
Oh, whoa. That's like plum purple.
Wow. Grab it right here because I don't think that plastic's gonna
Hold.
Oh, there's that one.
Oh, pretty.
So light colored.
That one's really light. I think it's gonna take a long time.
Yeah, that
I think
one.
it definitely needs to soak overnight. Hello friends. I have been doing a lot of knitting lately, and with that I have accumulated a lot of
We got
finished.
glasses.
You got glasses?
Yeah.
Nice. I have my knits. Remember?
Who's talking to you?
Talking to the camera.
What camera?
That one.